Hi, my name is Ranjan Bhattacharya. We're at the Baker Street Property Meet. It's actually our first anniversary. We started 1 year ago, and we're 1 year old. We're the largest property networking meet in the UK. We get over 200 property investors every month. And tonight we're talking about HMOs and multi-occupancy. And I'm joined by some fabulous guys from a company called iOccupy, James Grady and Bill Patel. Hi.
Hi.
You okay?
Congrats, I must say.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, and congrats to you guys, because you have formed a threesome quite some long time ago. You kind of came together and set up a company. You guys met at an event that Vanish and I organised how many years ago?
That's right, well, 2011.
5 years ago, maybe 5.5 years ago.
So
something like that.
So what was it that drew you guys? I mean, there was plenty of people in the room. What was it? What was the twinkle in each other's eyes that drew you together?
Well, I think I suppose at that time was we all just stood up and said where we were operating or doing something, and the lads come up and said, let's get a coffee. So we did, and kind of gelled immediately with personalities. And
well, that's what Vanish always says. It starts with a coffee, doesn't it? You've got to start with a coffee.
That's how it all started, yeah. That's how it all started.
But then, okay, lots of people go out and have coffee, but how did it move from coffee to business partnership between three people? Because you all had your own property empires going on, didn't you?
Well, I don't know about an empire at that time. It was quite, we were just starting out. But we just done one deal as a joint venture. Just said, right, let's go into it as a team. Done that one. Found another deal. Done another joint venture. And sort of scratched our heads a little bit and went, well, we're going on the same path here. Should we make a company out of it? Make this a bigger thing? And that's what sort of led us on that route.
And of course, you focused on Luton, and I have to eat humble pie here, folks. I mean, when you guys settled on Luton, I came up to see you guys 2010. I thought it was absolute toilet and a dump.
I'm glad you're missing off the tea.
Now, of course, Luton is the place, and you picked it so early on. Damn it, I missed out.
It's getting too much heat now.
That wasn't by coincidence.
Why Luton? I mean, because I didn't see
brilliant
it.
So much, massively undervalued. I say it to a lot of people. You do a heat map search on Zoopla, and it's a cold spot surrounded by
to just take people through what you mean by the heat map.
You can do a search on Zoopla by property price by heat map. So if it's red, it's obviously a high priced area, and if it's blue and cold, it's a lesser priced area. And if you look at Luton, it happens to be a blue spot surrounded by red. So it was, even back then, it was undervalued, and I still believe it still is undervalued, and it's going up with a lot of infrastructure going in, loads of investment. So we can still see a lot of growth happening in Luton, even coming.
And you started off with HMOs. Talk us through some of the early projects and what they were about.
Okay. Well, we started off with a 9-bed, so we didn't start small.
We started off with students, actually. That's where we started off. And I suppose at that point, let's say when Bill and Darren is not here now, but when we first met, they both had an idea of let's do some really high-end lets in Luton, and I just nearly fell over at that point and said, well, it's kind of Luton guys at the end of the day. But sort of in the best interest of let's have a go and test the market, we brought on certainly the 9 of the highest end HMO rooms you could probably put in the country at that point, actually, and gone in 4 days. So that was real testament then to what we had, that there was definitely a market for it, and then we just kind of expanded on that basis.
And that really worked, because I remember when I came up to see you way back then, you guys really pushed the boat out on design and having some wow factors.
And function as well.
The artificial grass in the... I mean, that's done all over the place now, isn't it? What do they call it? AstroTurf.
AstroTurf, yeah.
And I remember... I'll openly admit I copied a feature that I saw, the feature wall. I think you did the brick wallpaper and all but that. And
you won't have been the first or
last. Seeing a few like that. I mean, it makes a difference because it just makes it stand apart.
Yeah.
But you did it in Luton because at that time people weren't really having that much respect for the Luton tenants, and you treated them well, and
that's right. Well. I mean, our ethos is definitely it's all about love, love living, and there's a massive disrespect of old, certainly in the HMO world. So we've completely tried to change that around to make such a difference. And okay, we're only focused on Luton, but that difference is already now very apparent. And in 5 years of operations, that's we are really starting to see all the other operators now start to have to up their game because they can see there's a benefit, there's an absolute cash flow benefit from it, but also the expectation from the people renting. So that's really changing that landscape. And I think the younger generation now have a completely different, view of life, compared to probably, they might have wanted their first car years ago. Well, now it's the iPhone 7 or something like that. So that landscape has changed so radically that we're offering something that is feeding into that expectation.
Lifestyle,
and it's working.
Absolutely. And I think the thing I love about your journey, of course, you met at a networking event.
Yep.
You formed a partnership and a JV, which is all the stuff that we sort of talk about. You started off doing the typical HMOs that many people do, and 6-7 years down the line, you've progressed. You've kept on upping your game. Just talk us through, or talk the viewers through some of your current projects, just to see, so that people can get an idea of where you've come from, where you've arrived. Really.
I suppose we did a lot of, early days. We invested a lot into systems and processes and team to kind of get all the HMOs, one after another. Literally with a stock type of property we'd go and buy. There was a certain circle area that we would buy in. So there was a lot of relationship building at that point. Teams, the builders. So because we kept it localized, it was very easy to manage and grow teams inside that. And then now more laterally, I suppose we've come looking at the slightly bigger projects, commercial stuff now, where we've just recently gained planning for 37 service apartments. So we'll be building out that this year with doors to open in November. So that's going to be our biggest project yet. And that's going off into a brand new leg, really.
Is that in a former commercial building?
Yes, former A1 retail. Yeah,
A1
it was
retail.
a fishing tackle shop. And I think most of that transactional stuff now has gone online. So so it's a great opportunity. And Luton is just, it's got a very, let's say, large history in many respects, but it's a working class town. Lots of energy has gone in there. And so the prospects for the future, the next decade coming, is enormous, really. Yeah. So
Brilliant. I mean, these guys are here tonight for our first birthday celebration, sharing their experience and expertise with 220 people in the room. Do have a look around on our YouTube channel. You'll see plenty of videos with other property experts, and then make it down to one of our live events. We meet on the last Wednesday of every month. We're the UK's largest property meet. We look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.
Thanks.